Good morning, good morning, good morning. It's Wednesday, and you are tuned in to I'm Making It Happen on the Reef 103.5 FM with exceptionally yours, Nykole Tyson. And we are here on Wednesdays from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. And on I'm Making It Happen, we discuss how we can make it happen in our minds, bodies, finances, business, and culture, despite the inevitable and also pleasant challenges. And that's to ultimately allow us to realize that we have the ability to improve and maneuver ever in any situation. And I'm excited because I believe this is the first time we have Chief Robert Bryan. He is the St. Croix EMS chief. I believe this is the first time we have him on the show. And we're going to get into talking about EMS week and recognizing all of our men and women who are on the duty every day taking care of our medical emergencies. All right. Before we get into the details, I definitely want to say good morning to everyone in USVI, St. Croix, St. Thomas, St. John, the British Virgin Islands, St. Kitts and Nevis, and anywhere you are in the Caribbean. Thanks so much for tuning in, as well as all those listening live on reefbroadcasting.com from the east to west. Good morning. And wherever you are in the world, we appreciate you, as well as all those watching live on Facebook at I'm Making It Happen. And so, as I mentioned, today we are recognizing the dedicated men and women. Hold on. The dedicated men and women who answer the call during some of life's most critical moments. And in celebration of EMS Week, we are joined by EMS Chief Robert Bryan from the Virgin Islands Fire and Emergency Medical Services. And we'll be discussing the importance of emergency medical services in our community, the challenges and rewards of the profession, the dedicated team behind the scenes responding to the emergencies across the territory, and the upcoming activities planned for EMS Week. So, Chief Bryan, welcome to the I'm Making It Happen show. We're happy to have you today. Oh, hold on. Go ahead.
Good morning to you and all your listeners out there. I hope you're having a blessed day.
Yes, thank you. And it's such a pleasure because, I'm going to have to get into some details of why I love Chief Bryan so much. He is very passionate about his job, and he does it very, very well. But before we get in to the EMS week, I wanted to find out in my story in regards to how you supported me and my family during the time. He's like, oh, yes, that's what I'm talking about. And just how you handled everything. It was just, excellent. I want to know, how did you get involved? Like what attracted you to this career?
That began many years ago, back in the 1900s, as they say now.
Right.
I think I was working as a dock master. I took my first emergency course, which was CPR and first aid. Did well, loved it. Mentor Jacqueline Greenwich taught that class. And from there, I moved on to become an aircraft rescue firefighter. I couldn't get enough of learning how to help people. I discovered that by some people's standards late, but by my standards early in the, I was like 28, 29 at the time. And being a firefighter and with the Virgin Islands Port Authority, I just loved doing that. I took my first EMT class and was one of the first people to get that done. So I just loved it more and more. And, I took a break from Port Authority and eventually ended up with Virgin Islands Department of Health as an emergency medical technician, riding an ambulance full time. And we have a saying in EMS, in the professional field, it's a commitment to lifelong learning. I've moved up all the chains from a first aider to a first responder, working with St. Croix Rescue, to becoming an EMT, an EMT intermediate, and eventually a paramedic. Early in my life, I never thought I'd be chief, but the opportunity arose, and I decided then and there I'm going to do the best I can, because as a paramedic, you can help one or two people at a time. But as a chief, organizing the structure, making the plans, I'm helping infinitely more, because my responders are able to, and EMS providers are able to go out there and execute with the equipment, tools, skills, and training that they have.
Well, I think it's very appropriate, you being a chief, because, of course, like you said, you've gone through so many different rankings or
they're just levels.
Yeah, levels. Yeah, the levels of training. And so you have the full scope of what's needed.
I'm still learning.
Yeah, of course, still learning, but you have a scope of like being through those different levels. Yes. And what is
20 years of experience, 24 today, but
And sometimes the people, in positions, you hear people, I've heard, okay, they have this position, they have all this years of experience, but it's like 1 year 20 times. But you guys have different, learn something new every day.
Every day.
And so you have daily 20 years of monumental experience, because all the different challenges you experience daily in regards to responding to the emergencies and what it takes to respond, and all the different issues that you meet, right?
And here's the thing too. If you look nationwide, what's happening is that we're starting to provide health service. I have always wanted to bring health care. That little word, four-letter word makes all the difference in the world. Besides someone that just came and strapped on some stuff and took you to the hospital, versus somebody who cared about your health and your well-being, and making sure that not only did you get to the hospital safely and got all the care you needed, but somebody actually cared about you and provided emotional and spiritual support. So it's a big job, and every call is different.
It is. And that segues to what I wanted to recognize you for, and I always do it every time I see you and appreciate you. Actually, everybody knows, like, my mom was ill, right? And I found her unconscious, and who the person, the EMS, the paramedic who responded was Robert Bryan. And I remember I used to work at Department of Health, so I knew him from Department of Health, but I never needed services directly. But I've always been an advocate for the EMS, of course, and making sure that people, go to the side of the road when EMS and EMTs are going through, making way for them, and just, making sure they get to their emergencies on time, because you never know when, you don't really feel the need until it's you, right? So you and yours waiting for EMT to arrive, right? And so I was in that position, and you guys came very quickly. And I remember seeing Robert, and I was very happy, to see him despite the situation. And he asked me, does your mom, you probably don't remember, he said, does your mom have diabetes? And I was like, I don't think so. I don't know. And you was like, well, she does now. And I was like, okay, but you couldn't read her numbers, because it surpassed what your meter was.
Correct.
Your reading was. So when we got to the hospital, and you guys took her to the hospital, and you was very not patient, but like very caring and compassionate, and you just really took good care of my mom, getting her in the ambulance. Even though she was unconscious, she was still kind of conscious and resisting. And she doesn't even remember all this stuff, but I had to help my mom calm her down, get her in, to listen. And we got her to the hospital. What I appreciated most about you, was that he came the next day on his off day. All right. And I will be forever grateful, because it was very difficult. And I just saw Robert show up, and I was like, oh, you're working? He's like, no, I just came to check on your mom and see if she's okay, how she's doing. Yeah. And that meant a lot. So thank you so much. Still means a lot, and he came on his off day, right? So to show he's talking about compassion and about the health, the care in health. He was exhibiting that years ago. And so he actually has been doing that, and so I appreciate you.
You're welcome. And that's what EMS Week is about. I hope and I pray no one ever needs an ambulance to get to the hospital. They stay healthy, hale, and strong. But as a result of that, many times our responders, they never see the results of the care that they provided. They don't know whether the patient went on to do better or got worse, unless they just by happenstance reach them during their everyday. They ran into somebody in Pueblo, and they're like, hey, just like you do. Always say to me, you took care of my mom. I'm so appreciative. And it's very rare for our employees, our EMS providers, to get that. And that's what EMS Week is about. We're letting you know, with 100% behind you, do we support you, and we're doing things to make sure that you know that we are grateful for the work that you provide. I always tell my boss, there's compensation, which is what we make, and then there's appreciation, which is thank you so much for what you do. Because so many of my providers have those stories that they went the extra mile, they were a patient advocate, or they check back on their patient to know whether they did good or not. And sometimes it's not good, and we end up back there taking them to the airport so they can fly off the island, or getting them back home safely in the ambulance. We also provide that service. And as I said, service and care are two separate things. And, we're here to take care of our Virgin Islands residents and visitors.
Yes, and I love that. In talking about, like we said, you're here to talk about EMS Week, and what I love is that you have been improving or adding to the infrastructure of the EMTs, and local, right,
Yes.
young ones.
Shout out to Governor Bryan.
Yes.
If anybody knows me more than 10 years, they know I was against the merger, but I got involved, and I make sure that that EMS and fire after our merger is a seamless unit. And now people are seeing fire trucks show up for them with trained responders, backed up by ambulances, backed up by quick response vehicles. That's happening throughout the Virgin Islands, not just St. Croix, but that was the aim, that was the goal, and we got it done, and we got to continue. We got to maintain the system and improve it where you can.
Yes, and when I think I helped someone recently. I just saw them. They had collapsed, fainted near Sunny Isles, and I called 911. And the apparatus, the car, not the car, but the vehicle.
Okay, the quick response
vehicle. Yeah, came and very quickly and helped. And also in the States, they have when I had to use an ambulance one time, the fire department actually came and took me to the hospital. So let's talk about EMS Week. What are the dates?
The dates, we start this Sunday, and we normally start with a visit to the clergy, because many of us within EMS, we are very religious, and so we always look and go to church and get a blessing for the new year. I mean, this job it takes so much out of you, and it's more so spiritual and mental than I would even say physical, because when you're dealing with people at their worst day or late at night, and you're tired and they're tired, and you're trying to make the best outcome for the patient, you need that spiritual uplifting. This year we'll be going to Way of the Cross Church, and that's down there in Work and Rest, I believe. Okay. Down the Hannah's Rest stretch. Not the Hannah's Rest stretch.
That's West. Yes. Work and Rest area.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's the first
Catherine's
thing.
Rest.
Yeah, yes. Catherine's Rest stretch is what I'm talking about. Then we're going to be doing some internal stuff, which is EMS challenges. So we're going to make our everyday work games. We're going to do small competitions within the administrative office and training rooms to, give a little competition, bring a little more fun and sport to this. It is a learning environment as well. So that will, again, come into improving outcomes here in the Virgin Islands. We're going to be down by Frederickstead Pool, the Vincent F. Mason Pool down in Frederickstead. It is a brand new, beautiful pool. We're going to get some use out of it. Awesome. Thanks to, those people from ODR, Miss Williams, who are getting those things back in order so that we can use them to their fullest. So we're going to be doing water safety and probably going to have an ice cream social afterwards to cool down the responders after that training day. We're going to also do some school visits. And that's a normal everyday thing for the Virgin Islands Fire and EMS, to go out to the schools and talk to, students and explain to them things about 911, using 911, and as well as, hopefully inspire some of these young folks to become firefighters and EMTs in the future, because we're always going to need more. Mm-hmm. Then we're also going to have a bowling night specifically for the EMTs and firefighters. We want them to come out and have a night bowling. We want to look like a new bowling team and hopefully inspire them to get a bowling team started. Lastly, we're going to have a movie matinee, which is the EMS Remembrance Day, and we're going to be playing one of the original movies about EMS for the staff. And we like to share things from the past so that, this is how it was. We had to lift the stretcher and everybody. Wow. And so we're going to be showing Mother Jugs and Speed, I believe is the premiere event. And we always love to share that. So all in all, a full week. And that's just St. Croix. We're also doing things for the St. Thomas, St. John district. Chief Adams is over there. I think he's going to also be talking a little bit about it. And so on behalf of Antonia Stevens, this is our way of showing our EMS providers how much we appreciate the work that they do, and that, they don't go a day without knowing that their work is important.
Sounds like a really great week of activities. balanced with community involvement and also activities specific to the EMS staff.
Hmm.
Um, Tell us about the so so with that, how does that work though? If there you have EMS week and you have these activities, people are still on. So how do you stagger for everybody to be involved in some of these activities with still responding to their emergencies?
This is the third year I'm doing this, and let me tell you, I cried the first year because I planned a beautiful event. And very few people were able to make it because they were working and they do have other things going on as well.
Mm.
And we try to make sure that they have the time off if they're on shifts, as long as there's not a call, they can stop by and participate in the events, as well as to make sure that everybody gets a little something. And I'm going to make sure we're going to have t-shirts for sure. And so you may see that we usually have a little EMS t-shirt so we can remember, hey, this was the year that we did this or that.
Awesome. So with that, see, they have to juggle not even possibly being a part of the activities. Tell us some of the things that people don't see, right, behind the scenes in regards to what what you guys endure in responding to the calls and
Cool.
be it like emotional, the challenges, long hours, difficult calls, and how does that relate into you're saying improving outcomes together, right?
Okay, well,
That's the theme of the EMS week.
the first and most disturbing aspect of it is, like, if your family member is sick, from time we close that door, you're wondering what's going on, what are they doing? We're taking blood pressures, we're starting IVs. Sometimes we're doing the worst. We're doing CPR and intubations and things like that. There is a lot of blood. There's a lot of sputum, vomit, and other bodily fluids that you can't 100% protect yourself from. And it's in the back of every provider's mind that you could pick up a communicable disease and accidentally take that home to your family. That actually happened to me many years back. I came down with chickenpox, and I was like, I wasn't around anybody with chickenpox, and I was home for like 2 months with chickenpox. People don't know that, but that occurs. Wow. So we have to keep our bodies healthy. We have to keep our immune system at high speed. Can you imagine if a child is hurt? And there's only so much you can do to make it better. That it takes a mental toll on you. Elderly people as well. I mean, anybody that you could possibly relate to, you might be seeing them on a not too great day and hopefully not terrible day, but you want to see them do better. I've gone to homes where, the aged are living in plywood homes with, galvanized roof, one light in the whole place, hasn't eaten for days. And you gotta assimilate that and then formulate a plan in your mind. How are you gonna help this person? But you're just the first step. There's usually a long way to go with somebody is suffering from a chronic illness. And oftentimes we'll see them again and again and again. And so making sure that they know that there are avenues out there. The government is helping with human services, Meals on Wheels, Department of Health, providing all of these things, Medicare, Medicaid programs that they can get into, as well as support. So that's also part of the things that we do to make sure that, people can move from a point of low to a higher point than they were before. And so a lot of people don't know that. And sometimes there's a young lady that, by young, I mean 80 plus. She just wants us to come and talk to her.
Oh, wow.
And she told me once, I'm just glad to hold a handsome young man's hand, and we spend time with them because sometimes it's just emotional support is what's needed. And people don't know, but we provide that as well.
So she just calls 911 and you respond, or you just...
Yeah, I mean, she says she doesn't feel well. We have to go and find out why she doesn't feel well. Understood. And after a proper assessment, of course.
Right.
So is that what we were designed for? No. And that's why I've taught many years. EMS providers bridge the gap to emergencies, terrorist accidents, natural disasters, public health, public education. We do so much out there. No one person does it by himself. It's a system. And so we got to make sure that we have as strong a system as possible for us. One day I'm going to be 80 and I might call and just want somebody to talk to. I hope they're there and performing at the level or better than I have today.
Well, I appreciate you and what you express, and I am sure they will with your training, because that's what happens. And and you, what they say, it's servant leadership. So you show it, right?
Yes,
You display
absolutely.
that. And so when your staff sees you, then they will most likely embrace it as well and teach others to do
Mhm.
the same. And so I love to hear that we have that compassion within the MS, and then that you're the catch-all. You're
Yep.
catching things, and then you're making sure people are getting the services that they might not know of and not be able to take advantage of without your involvement.
Yes.
So appreciate you and your team for that, and Fire EMS as a whole. And so tell us about the improving outcomes together. That's the theme of this year's EMS week. What was the thought process behind that?
Okay, so one of the things that a lot of people are not familiar with is there are two EMS. There's emergency medical system, and then there's emergency medical services. I work for emergency medical services, which is Virgin Islands Fire and EMS, but it's also a system. We're just the front door. So we got to make sure that we are well trained, because if I can't bring you to a stable position, when I get to the hospital, they're not going to be able to do anything for you. You may be in a worse condition. Care doesn't stop there. Then doctors, nurses, RNs, LPNs, CNAs, medical assistants, radiologists, laboratory technicians, microbiologists, ICU nurses. It is a whole system, and we have to understand what it's about. Like, most people think, oh, I just call EMS and I'm going to get in first in the ER. It doesn't really work like that. It's a system to it. So we encourage and we urge people that if you're not feeling well, yes, call us. But EMS primarily is for emergencies. So things with, change in responsiveness, diabetes, medical emergencies, trauma. Those are the things that were really designed and we perform well. Just giving you a ride to the hospital because you have a cold is not necessarily a good use of our resources. If you have a cold and you need to go to the hospital and you don't have a ride, by all means, please call us. We'll get you there.
Okay. And actually that's interesting you say that, because one of my questions I thought to say, I don't think this seems like such a basic question, but I was gonna ask what do you suggest in regards to somebody going to the hospital? Like, what is the circumstances around that they should call, or they should drive themselves? They should call 911 and get, the ambulance to pick them up, or drive themselves.
If I could talk to you as a person and not the chief.
Right.
All right. If you can get to the hospital by car and you're not bleeding out, you don't have any problems with your airway, your breathing, your circulation, or your mentation, your level of responsiveness. Because I wouldn't want you driving a car if you're disoriented, dizzy, or whatnot. So those are the four basic ones. All right. So, you slipped in the kitchen and cut your finger with a knife. That is something you could probably drive to the hospital and get taken care of, or go to your primary care physician as well and get it taken care of. We also have a lot of urgent centers that can take care of these minor injuries and illnesses. Now, when minor injuries and illnesses they're not attended to by urgent care centers and things like that, that's when it gets worse. And then you have to start thinking, okay, I need to go to the hospital. Do you have a ride to the hospital? Can you get there safely if someone drives you? Those are the concerns, because at the end of it, there is a charge. Even if you have insurance, Medicare or Medicare, there is still a charge that may come back to you, because these days, a lot of companies are denying claims, saying basically the same thing. You could have had your husband drive you to the hospital. You could have had your neighbor give you a lift to the hospital. And so I don't want anyone to ever shy away from what the cost is. So we don't even discuss costs on the ambulance, but there is a cost to it. And if you're having a true emergency, you have a high fever, your child has seizures, those things that affect your airway, breathing, circulation, and your brain, those are usually high priority patients. But if we travel with everybody that has a cold and doesn't feel well, when stabbings, GSWs, and major motor vehicle accidents occur, we may not have the resources available to get to them and get them to the hospital. And so we ask everyone to be considerate of your EMS system. It is limited, but we'll do our best. We haven't dropped the call yet, specifically because of the merger, because we have EMTs on the fire apparatus as well that can get out there and at least assess you.
Perfect. So tell us about that. Since you said you haven't dropped the call, you have the fire EMS and fire EMTs. I don't know if I'm using the term.
Yeah.
EMS and EMTs interchangeable. Okay. And then you have the Department of Health, right?
Yes.
Okay. So where are the locations now? Like, how accessible and or all the locations now that
So on
people respond to?
So on St. Croix, we have in Richmond, we have the C Company and Fire Station. We also have an ambulance station, strictly ambulances in Estate Cottage, just along the edge of Hess Road, next to the airport, next to the in the vicinity of Home Depot. Most people won't see it. It's a little tucked away.
Okay.
And our last ambulance station is in Frederickstead Town, the F Company Fire Station. And so that provides a 10-minute coverage to 99% of St. Croix. Even if you're going out east, the C Company ambulance can get out there really, really quick.
Okay. Well, I think we've covered, one of the questions I was going to ask of how to share how valuable our EMS are, because many times people think of emergencies, but overall you've already expressed the overall health and safety support that your department addresses on a daily basis that I haven't thought about. So you seem like the catch-all in regards to the things that you see or experience. What would you like the public to better understand about the dedication and sacrifice and importance of the EMTs across the territory?
Well, I'm gonna tell you this. They did a study back in the 2000s, and they found that most EMS professionals get out of the field within 7 to 10 years. Around that same time, we had changes in the retirement system, and this is one of my little pet projects, which is EMTs and firefighters typically can retire after 20 years. Now they're being expected to work for 25 years. It's just unlikely. The amount of calls that we're going to has only increased. The severity of the calls we're going to has only increased. So this merger came at a good time because it's going to kind of spread the wealth, so to speak. But at the same time, this is a tough job. It takes a lot out of you mentally, spiritually, and physically. And so, I think that we need to make some motions towards that, taking another look at what the retirement situation is for EMTs, because I only know about 4 EMTs that are enjoying retirement right now. And it's if you think of how many EMTs have been working for us and have left and never enjoyed a retirement, it's kind of heartbreaking considering they gave their heart, their mind, and stuff. I mean, these are individuals that I got to work today, but it's my daughter's birthday. I got to go to work. It's Christmas, but I got to go to work. It's Thanksgiving, but I got to go to work. And, a lot of people take that for granted, but EMTs don't. Firefighters
there's a natural
don't.
disaster, but I still got to go to work.
Yeah. I mean, we had Irma Maria. It still gives me PTSDs for this day. I was working like 2 months straight, just being there for the people of the Virgin Islands and trying to split some time, make some time for my family and make sure they're taken care of as well. And so all your firefighters and EMTs do this. We get hurt too. We go through marital problems too. We go through social problems too. We also have to make that paycheck, make it to the next paycheck. So they're dealing with all of that and still taking care of you 9 times out of 10 with a smile to make sure that we take care of you.
Wow. Thank you for sharing. See if we have a call. We'll take it. Okay, let's see. You're on the air. Thanks for calling.
Yeah, hello.
Good morning. You're on the air.
Yeah, our side is medical, emergency medical week.
Yes.
I want to know, he was saying what's going to be happening and so forth, but I don't hear the date nor the time.
Okay.
So
it's May 17th through the 23rd. And I know while he looks it up, May 17th through the 23rd of May. And while he looks it up, I know they're going to start at church. I think that's something for the EMTs themselves. And then he'll share some other activities. I'm not sure if public can participate, but he'll share that.
That is correct. Most of the activities are geared towards 2 things. Primarily, making sure that we appreciate our EMTs. The church service is 8:30 on at Way of the Cross Baptist Church. Sorry, I'm not sure it's Baptist. Correct me on that.
It's Way of the Cross. We just say that.
Okay. And the rest of the activities are scheduled to make sure that they get training activities that promote bonding and team building. And lastly, I think we're doing some school visits as well. There's one more project I'm working on. It's not 100% complete with Department of Health. We plan to do initiate what we call Light the Beacon, which is we're going to make and introduce parents into creating a system that takes care of children with special needs. I've been on scenes where children of special needs, you cannot treat, speak, operate with them the same way. So we're going to start a training and identification system so that when we get calls for them, that we are able to treat them with all the same care that they would normally get as the rest of the community.
Oh, that's outside. Okay, thank you. Hopefully that answered your question. We have another call. We'll take it. All right, you're on the air. Thanks for calling.
Yeah. Good morning, Nykole. I could barely hear you.
Good morning.
On the phone. I could hear you on the radio. I have a question. I believe it was last month or so, the consortium had an article about the severe lack of paramedics, on all 3 islands. I believe they said it was only 11 or less paramedics to cover. St. Croix only had 3 or so, they were saying. I can't remember the amount of number. But they were saying it was just a severe shortage of paramedics. So I don't know if he covered this topic. So why, I'm not sure if the word is resistant. So I watched the graduations on channel 27, the local channel. So, and they're always for EMTs, but very few are moving on to be paramedics. So what is it? Not the word resistance. Is it the amount of classes, the time you have to put in to train to be a paramedic?
Yes.
Just the different areas, if you can explain, you probably did already. But why is it such a not a great movement to move on to be a paramedic? So I'll hang up to hear your answer, what you have to say. Thank you for your call. Thank you for being on the program.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that is such a great question because it factors in to something that is a nationwide problem. It's not a problem just for the Virgin Islands. There is a shortage of paramedics. Things like pay, better opportunity have made the industry short of paramedics. Many paramedics are going on to become RNs because it pays more. Many are going on to become doctors and PAs. It is a great jumping point for advanced degrees. Secondly, it is, I won't say highly, but it is a regulated training regimen to get to paramedic. It took me 12 years, not because I didn't try, but because there were no classes available. And so even if you started today, you probably would not get finished for another 9 to 12 months, depending on the program that you partake in. You are able to do it online, but you are required at some point to travel. And usually that means it's expensive traveling, staying there for several weeks to get your skills training. VI Fire has invested in at least 6 people to do this, to correct me. We've invested in about 10 people so far to do this program, the paramedic program. 2 were successful, the other 8 were unsuccessful. So that's another component. It's a difficult program because you are operating as a paramedic without a doctor. There's no doctor to say, should I do A or B or C? Needless to say, we still haven't stopped investing, but we have changed the paradigm that if you are an employee and you're going to take this program, we'll do our best to support you. And hopefully one day we'll have the funding to reimburse people for the training that they successfully complete.
Wow. Thank you for that. The distinctions. All right. So if you just tuned in, we have Chief Robert Bryan It's fine. Chief Robert Bryan here, St. Croix Chief of EMS. He shared a lot and given a lot of insight in regards to the role of EMS in the territory and our AMTs, like what they experience. And so, that gives us even more appreciation of those that have taken on this as a career, because it does express or show that they really love to care for the community, right?
And I just wanted to add, we do actually have individuals who took it out on their own initiative to get the training. And so they are in the pipeline. And so we will be getting more eventually. And plus, we also have openings for direct hires, whether from stateside or wherever we can.
So share that. Because we have a lot of people listening from different places. So are you looking for people to apply to be an EMT, a paramedic and whatnot?
Absolutely. Mostly paramedic. We are going to start, we are primarily right now on the EMT level, focusing on people who also want to be firefighters. So you actually have to apply to be a firefighter. And if you need the training for EMT, we provide that. Paramedics, as she stated, is our big gap right now. Shout out to my paramedics, because they put in crazy hours to make sure the community is covered. Shout out to my supervisor. She is the 4th paramedic out there, and she's actually in the quick response vehicle. She's available 24/7. And a little shout out to me, because I still do respond on calls here and there, make sure all our gaps are covered.
Great. I think it was who said it? Snoop Dogg said, "I'll thank myself." Right? I want to thank me, right? Definitely. Like I already expressed, So definitely have to share. People can appreciate you, but
and just so you know, the
yourself.
starting salary for a paramedic is $60,000. Okay. Normally, you would apply on the Virgin Islands Department of Personnel website. I think it's VIDOP. .gov, I think.
The Department of Labor.
Personnel.
Oh, I'm not sure.
Yeah,
but you can Google it. I'm sure and find out. Okay. All right, great. So so they are looking for they're looking to hire in the various areas, fire, and then I guess also EMTs with that, and then paramedics. So look at Personnel Division's website for more information, and I'm sure you can call the fire department as well.
You can call us, but you can't apply there.
Right.
I think you can apply online. You can also put your name down as an interest in becoming a firefighter EMT.
Okay. Well, thanks so much. This is Robert Bryan, St. Croix Chief, EMS Chief. I'm here speaking on all things EMS, and it was talking about specifically he came to highlight the EMS week for 2026 happening May 17th to the 23rd, and celebrating all the EMTs in the territory, recognizing and celebrating all the EMTs in the territory. And so we do want to express appreciation to all that are in that role daily. As we've heard, it's a very taxing, emotionally taxing, and also can be physically taxing, department or career. And so we appreciate all that you do.
I just want to make a shout out. I do post what we've been doing and things that we've been doing on Facebook at Virgin Islands Fire and EMS. We also have the VIFEMS.vi.gov website that we just launched. Shout out to our PIO, Ms. Fredrickson, as well as for having me over here today and talking to beautiful Miss Nykole Tyson.
Thank you. Yeah, she was great setting this up. My last question is, how can the community better support EMS professionals?
Listening to paying attention to what's on the road, so you can move over to the left. All you tourists as well, move over to the left and allow the fire department to pass through. Definitely taking courses in CPR. We are losing so many people because after 4 minutes, brain death starts to occur when cardiac arrest occurs. We can usually get to most calls. Our average right now is 9.57 minutes. So that's 4 minutes that person becomes unsavable. Guys, please get out there and learn CPR, learn first aid. That is the biggest weakness. It's been seen across the country, and the communities and counties that really go out there and make sure the citizenry knows EMS. Those are the ones that are getting saved, because they're buying time for the ambulance services to get there and change the outcomes of these people. I'm going to get old one day. I hope somebody around me knows CPR. Most of my family knows CPR. Get out there. We're trying to get it into the schools. We're definitely teaching it at UVI. Department of Health, Ms. Greenwich is also teaching CPR. And then we're making sure all our firefighters learn it. That makes the biggest difference in getting saves in our community.
Perfect. Thanks for sharing that. So they can call the Department of Health, Fire, and find out where the places are to learn it.
Absolutely. And University of the Virgin Islands Simulation Center is a center of CPR training. So they organize 98% of the training that's going on in St. Croix. And there are resources available on St. Thomas as well.
Okay, perfect. Thanks so much for being with us today.
Right.
Chief Bryan, we appreciate you and all you do, and as well as your team throughout the territory, St. Croix, St. Thomas, St. John. Anything you want to say before we close out?
And shout out to my brother, Governor Albert Bryan, for making this happen, as well as Antonia Stevens, our Director of Virgin Islands Fire EMS, Lyle Eveling, our Assistant Director, and most importantly, my number 2, my Supervisor, Melinda Jeffers. She makes it happen for the community every single day. Thanks to all my staff. You guys put in great work. I see it, I feel it, and keep it up.
Awesome. All right. So this is Chief Bryan, Robert Bryan, St. Croix EMS Chief. Today we saluted the incredible men and women of the Virgin Islands Fire and Emergency Medical Services who work tirelessly to protect and serve our community during emergencies and critical moments. As we celebrate EMS Week under the theme, Improving Outcomes Together, we thank every EMS professional across the Virgin Islands for their dedication and compassion and, of course, sacrifice, as we've heard today. We got one more call. Let's see. All right. You're on the air. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon, or should I say good morning, sorry.
Good morning.
I want to thank the gentleman that's on air, as well as all the men and women that work for us in emergency care. And I just want to tell a quick story about the importance of CPR, because some years ago, I think it was 2014 or 15, one of my students was drowning at Carambola. And when we got her out, she was limp, and I had to perform CPR. I did compression, and we got, eventually got her to be responsive. And we, got her to the hospital, and it was touch and go for like 24 to 48 hours. And she survived, and the doctor said if she didn't get CPR, she would have passed. That still traumatizes me in the sense of, swimming in the ocean with my students, because I do, track and field. This is Coach Smith. And that same weekend, 3 other people drowned, and no one in the vicinity of those 3 people knew CPR or how to save those people. And so it's crucially important that, even coaches, teachers, and people that deal with children on a regular basis become certified and maintain their certification and take care of our children, because it's really a life and death situation that occurs, and that can occur. And that young lady right now is married and finished college, and she's doing well. And I look back at that as saying that, learning CPR back when I was coaching in Michigan as a requirement to coach track and field has really been something that I promote to all my coaches and people that are teaching. So I just want to give that and thank you for all that you do, and let you know that it's really life and death.
That is so appreciated, sir. God bless you for saving that young lady's life. Amen. And I appreciate it.
I was just an instrument, so thank you so very much.
All righty.
And thank you for your call. It's Coach Smith and all you do.
You're welcome.
Have a great day.
If I could just add to that, I want you to know that the Department of Education makes sure all of their school monitors are trained in CPR, and Department of Health works with CPR. So those kind of things, they are happening. They are happening in the background. So, we got our community covered. Shout out to those who have learned CPR. If you did not, get it done. And together we can improve outcomes.
Awesome. Well, special thank you to you and your team. As I mentioned, we have a call, but we got to close out. So special thank you to the EMS Chief, Robert Bryan, for joining us today and sharing more about the important work being done throughout the territory, as well as the exciting activities planned for EMS Week 2026. From all of us here at I'm Making It Happen, remember to support, appreciate, and uplift those who are there for us during our moments of greatest need. Until next time, keep making it happen. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
And as always, as you know, as I always say, have an amazing rest of the day and the week. We'll connect again on next week, Wednesday, from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. If you don't see something happening, create it. Be the change. And until next time, keep thinking outside the box, calling outside the lines. And remember, it's about you, me, we. So make it happen.